Welcome to the Fleischer Forum, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for 2 hours of Fleischer goodness coming your way. Let's see, Mallard, answer your question. Roughly 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Something like that. Y'all just bear with me. I'm just getting the last dials tuned in. All the switches in the right position. And unlike an airplane, you can keep your seat trays down. You don't need to have your seats in an upright position. Pick those things back. Get yourself a nice hot cup of tea. We're going to take off, and it don't even matter. We want you to be comfortable. It'll be a fun night. These are some interesting cases. I got news for you. I've watched a good portion of this. This is some interesting stuff coming up. Cat's actually distracted by food right now. I just bribed the dogs with chicken McNuggets. They are actually out of my hair for like 5 minutes. They'll probably wanting to go outside in about 30 seconds. It's my luck. It's exactly when the show should be. Y'all, we had a trial today. We actually had a trial. Things went down. I don't know if you saw it live. We had a trial. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fleischer Forum. Is everybody ready to watch some Judge Fleischer? These are some excellent cases. A lot to learn from legally speaking, the trial that we have on deck is probably one of the more interesting trials from a legalese standpoint. I don't even want to talk it up. It's going to take us about 30, 40 minutes to get there from where we start, because keep in mind, we're doing the whole docket now. I've truncated it, taken out a lot of the, just sitting around not talking and doing anything. And I have removed a couple of, kind of the lawyer, judge, resettings. We don't need to see 100 resettings back to back. We know what those look like. Anyway, on to Judge Fleischer. This is a good caseload. Ladies and gentlemen, today's docket. Let's talk about it.
Okay, page 7, Fairly, come on up.
Are you Dewan Fairley? Mr. Fairley, you're charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Any witness and the defendant are dating and they have a child. On October 14th, 2024, any witness was driving while the defendant was a passenger and their son was in the rear seat. Defendant began questioning complaining witness because he thought she was cheating, which prompted an argument. Defendant began putting his hands in complaining witness's face, impairing complainant's ability to see the road. Complainant brought the vehicle to an immediate stop. Defendant then began grabbing her left shoulder. While defendant was grabbing her shoulder, complaining witness turned and bit defendant on his hand in an attempt to get defendant to release her. Defendant then punched complainant with a closed fist in the face, causing pain.
All right, Mr. Fairley, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do we know whether she wants to have contact with him?
I believe she does want contact, Judge. It looks like someone from DVD did the rip.
How do you have that belief?
Someone from our domestic violence division called her and she said she doesn't want to move forward. So she does want contact with the defendant.
Any other priors that you see?
No criminal history, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Fairley, I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any threatening or harassing contact with this witness. If I find that you do, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Sir.
So I don't know what kind of relationship you have with this person, but if you're someone who's constantly going to fight with this person, be careful. Because remember, it's not what you think as far as threatening or harassing, it's how she perceives. So can conduct in and of itself violate this order? It absolutely can. If I go like this, is that threatening or harassing? It is. And it can land you in jail in a moment's notice. Do you understand?
Sir.
We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I will have you come up here. The other thing you need to understand is there's a protective order that is in place. I would get to know it because if you violate this protective order, the state can and will file additional charges against you. And then it gets ugly really quick. You understand? I will have you come up here. Well, we're going to have you sign a court order for you not to have any threatening or harassing contact. I'm also prohibiting you from having any weapons as well. No guns, knife, nothing. I'll have you sign a receipt and we'll get you out of here to hire a lawyer. All right. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions. Otherwise, I'll issue a warrant. Please. Can you file no threatening and harassing?
Hernandez,
No weapons.
page 10.
Which one?
Hernandez on page 10.
Come up. Ms. Hernandez,
Yes, Hernandez. How are you?
you're charged with theft. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Please don't say anything.
On August 18th, 2023, the defendant issued a check for $1,577 as a payment for vehicle registration. The bank returned the check saying that there were insufficient funds. Complaining witnesses provided a copy of the demand letter sent to the defendant, no response.
Got it. All right, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. You need a lawyer to represent you in this case. This is a theft by check and it can have dire consequences on your, going forward. We're gonna reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm not gonna put any conditions on your bond. Just be careful. Don't pick up any new cases. We'll just have you sign a reset and we'll get you out of here. When you come back, please have a lawyer, okay? Please.
All right, Judge, next is Richardson, 2122.
Is Ramona here
Yes.
She's hiding from you.
in spirit?
Yes.
Kendrick Richardson.
Take your hands out of your pocket.
You are on bond for 2 assaults and now you've picked up a new case.
Can I explain myself?
We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On October 15th, 2024, officers were assisting with a stranded motorist disabled in Harris County, Texas, when a witness ran up to the officer and stated that he had been shot at. Witness fell on the ground and the officers observed defendant running across the street. Witness pointed out the defendant and stated defendant was the one who shot him.
What?
Shot at him.
And he's charged with an evading arrest and an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon?
Sure, Judge. I can look further into the offense report.
Your Honor,
But
on this case, initially, yes, that's what the complainant said, but upon further investigation, the officer could not locate the weapon. And also, he was unsure of whether, based on the office report, whether the defendant was the one who shot based on location of the complainant, as well as the fact that he couldn't observe the weapon upon retracing the steps of the defendant.
Don't we have shot spotters out there now anyways? It would be interesting to see where this location is, see if there's an actual shot spotter out there. If there is, let's pull the records. It's not rocket science, okay?
So the defendant then began running in the officer's direction. Officers marked patrol vehicle was blocking the lanes with lights activated. Officer yelled at D to stop. And
I'm the defendant, you.
You are the defendant.
Yelled at the defendant to stop and identified himself as police. Defendant turned around and began to run away from the officer. Officer gave chase and yelled again to the defendant, IDing himself and asking for the defendant to stop, which the defendant refused, looking back and continued running. Approximate length of chase was 0.6 miles.
Mr. Richardson, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your evading arrest. You have been given multiple bonds. I asked you to do one thing while you were on bond for both of those assault cases. Do you remember?
Stay clean,
And stay out of trouble.
stay out of trouble. I was shot at.
And now you picked up a new case. I'm revoking your bond. He goes with you.
Revoking my bond.
Mhm.
I was shot.
We're gonna look further into the facts.
Please. All right, who's next?
Judge, that was the last arraignment for
Okay,
now.
ready? Is it DeTwain Johnson?
Which one?
DeTwain. Mr. Johnson, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On October 16th, 2024, officers conducted a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas on a silver Buick bearing a Texas temp tag with no return to a motor vehicle, no light, and not sure what that But he had a temp tag, the note did not return to a vehicle and a no lights in the back. So the defendant exited from the driver's side of the motor vehicle, leaving the vehicle on and walked towards the patrol motor vehicle quickly. Defendant attempted to walk back towards the driver's side to turn off the motor vehicle. Officers stopped defendant before he opened the door. Defendant stated the firearm was inside the vehicle. Officers opened the driver's side door and observed a Glock in plain view, unholstered and in the driver's side door panel.
Find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license?
No, sir, I have an ID, a state ID.
Not allowed to drive. I'm making that a condition of your bond, and you will be signing an affidavit with me today promising you're not going to drive. If you get a Texas driver license and liability insurance, I will let you drive. But until that point, if I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand?
I had insurance on my car though. They didn't.
Don't have a license. You need a license, a Texas driver's license.
Oh, yes, sir.
Until you have a license, you can't drive. I'm glad that you have insurance because that's really one of the most important parts. Because if you get into an accident and create $50,000 in damage, if you don't have insurance, they're going to come after you and make you pay the 50 grand.
Yes, sir.
Have insurance. And if you get into an accident, they'll even give you a lawyer to represent you. But you still need a license. If you get a license, come back and show me, and then I'll take this off. But until that point, don't. We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to have drive, not be in possession of any weapons, and after that, we'll let you go. What do you do for a living?
I work for landscaping and mulching.
And how much money do you make a month?
Oh, my father. Work for like 2500. It'd be like 2500.
A month?
It's not that much, you know. This was
2,500 is not bad. I mean, who do you live with? Where? Do you live by yourself in the apartment or who? With?
just me.
Do you have any children?
Yes, sir. I have a daughter.
Where's the kid now? Do you provide support for the child? I'll have you fill out an application. I'll take a look at it to see whether you qualify. I need to know everything about you, what kind of car you have, how much money you have in the bank.
I don't have a bank account there.
Oh, you don't put all zeros, because if you do that, I'm going to send it right back to you. I need to know everything about you, monetary, financial, everything. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
We'll have you come up here, swear to this, and then they'll give you an application, fill it out, and I'll take a look, okay?
Does you also have a Spanish arraignment?
Ay, caramba, la bamba. Come on, man.
Page 10, Gutierrez.
Come on, Luis. Okay, yeah. Is it page what, 10?
10.
Israel Gutierrez.
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
On October 15th, 2024, officers observed defendant's motor vehicle exit a parking lot and drive into the main roadway very suddenly with rapid acceleration. Officers saw that the vehicle had a defective license plate light and expired registration. After officers stopped the vehicle and made contact with the defendant, officers observed the defendant to be wearing no shirt, had unbuttoned pants on, a strong odor of alcohol in his breath, and glassy eyes. Defendant was leaning on his car for support when asked to step out. Defendant admitted to drinking. SFSTs were conducted. 6 out of 6 HGN, 4 out of 8 walk and turn, and 2 out of 4 one-leg stand. DICs were read, but breath was refused, and a blood warrant was signed and executed.
Any Friday?
No, Judge.
Mr. Gutierrez, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward to the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Are you a United States citizen? Are you in this country with or without permission? You're a citizen?
Yes.
Do you have liability insurance in your name? Okay, as long as you have both, you can continue to drive. I am ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or drugs, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? Can you run his license for me, please? We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you go to Victoria real quick, sign a reset. You'll get with pre-trial for your bond conditions. And after that, you'll be free to go. When you come back, please have a lawyer. And I'm going to tell you this now, that don't take your time waiting for a lawyer because you're only hurting yourself. There's a lot of timing requirements with the DWI, and it could really hurt you if you just sit there and wait. Okay?
That's okay.
Please. Okay. Great.
Right
Thank you.
this way.
Okay, Robert, let's go.
Coach, present coach. COJ. Sí, señor, no, señor.
Are you Coach Tambariz Franklin Abraham?
Yes, sir.
Charged with driving while
That's what's,
intoxicated, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're offering you 3 days in jail, credit for the 2 days that you have served. You need to understand, after today, this DWI will go on your record. If you were ever pulled over, an officer will see a prior DWI. If you smell like alcohol or dope, they're going to arrest you, put you in jail. What we're doing today, from now on, you're facing a minimum of 90 days in jail. So if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail for that kind of time, I can all but guarantee an immigration detainment. So if I were you, I would never get in a car, even if you've had a sip of alcohol. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen or a possible immigration consequence, you can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you cannot change this. It will go on your record and you can never take it off. Is this what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Is it true or untrue that you had a 0.15 or above?
Yes.
Okay, so true to the enhancement. All right, sir. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty, send you to 3 days in jail. I will give you credit for the 2 days that you've done. I'm going to suspend your license for 90 days. Do not drive. Your license is now suspended. Do you understand? If you drive, you're going to be right back over here, and it's not going to go well.
Comcast. My God, it's the same time from last night, is it not? This is almost exactly. I'm looking at the clock. It's 8:20. Oh my God. Okay. Jesus. Is everybody okay? I'm not passing out from my heart attack yet, but I'm chewing on some nitro tablets. I think it's gonna pass. I have the video on pause. I realized I was trying to make a comment about something, and I realized everything was stalled up. So I hit the pause button over here so you guys aren't missing anything at all. I'm not gonna go off on a Comcast rant. That's not something I'm going. Guys, I'm sorry for that. I do apologize. I'm just kind of giving it a minute to get everything spun back up. I didn't even have to reset the router or anything. Mom, did yours go out too? Was it just me? Hey, we don't need to talk But dadgum. I am stuck like Chuck. We're all stuck like Chuck. Oh, Lord have mercy. And it's already kind of a long docket. And this just delays it even more, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, what happened right there is Comcast failed on me. There was a little bit of a jump. I'm not sure what it's going to look like on playback, but I had a little bit of a freak out. I've been sitting here trying to get things back in order. It looks like we're back 5x5 again. I don't anticipate any other problems, so I am going to back up the show just a couple of spots, and we're gonna hopefully pick back up where y'all started spinning. Let me know if I need to back it up more. I think we've gotten the gist of most everything that's going on with this particular case, so we can probably just keep moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, back to the forum, back to the show. Keep the conversation rolling, shall we?
Can you waive the state traffic fine, Judge, on that? Doesn't have any savings, no bonds, no stocks.
I want you to understand something, Mr. Coach Tumbries, that your lawyer is asking me to waive the fines and fees for you. I will do that as a courtesy now. I'm now taking away around $500 to about $4,000 in fines and fees. It will not happen again. You come back here with the DWI, it's going to be at least $6,000 to $7,000 that you will be responsible for. So out there, come back here with another DWI. It's really going to go sideways for you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much, Judge. Thanks.
Lieber Augustin. One more, and then I'm bringing the jury in. It's 9. I mean, they've been sitting for an hour. Okay. Ricardo, what do you got real quick?
Judge, if I can approach real fast. Oh.
Just- Okay, what's the name?
Freddie Ruiz, Judge.
Freddie Ruiz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruiz, you're charged with racing on a highway. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On October 15th, 2024, officers observed 2 motor vehicles traveling at a high rate of speed on the 3100 block of Blalock Road in Harris County, Texas. Officers observed both motor vehicles line up at a red light and both motor vehicles traveling at a high rate of speed side by side. Officers caught up with motor vehicles and initiated traffic stop. Officer made contact with the defendant. Defendant stated he was going home from work. The other driver swerved into his lane like he was attempting to strike the defendant's vehicle.
What?
And then the defendant decided to do the same thing to the other vehicle.
So they're like demolition derby?
I know what it sounds like, Judge. And they both started traveling at a high rate of speed after that.
What does a high rate of speed mean?
¿Qué significa velocidad excesiva?
I mean, I'm gonna check the offense report and see if we have the exact speed.
And he makes an admission that they're racing?
He makes the admission that he was doing the same thing to the other vehicle that the other vehicle did, where the other vehicle was attempting to hit him.
And do we have a co-defendant as well?
I don't see one listed, Judge.
Stephen, I'm gonna bring him in 5 minutes.
That's fine. I just wanted to go check on they're still okay.
Percolating, you know? No.
It doesn't look like the officer provided the exact speed that they got to in the offense report or in the NIMS. He just says high rate.
Racing again? Other than the demolition derby?
So the officer observed them, right, driving together. And then I believe he pulled the defendant over, and then had to call in a Spanish speaking unit. And then so the defendant stated that he was traveling home from work, and just that the defendant swerved into his lane trying to strike his vehicle, or sorry, not the defendant, the other driver swerved into his lane trying to strike his vehicle. And then the defendant decided to do the same thing.
I get it, and it could be a deadly conduct, but where's the racing? Read it again, read it again. I mean, maybe I missed it, but
No lo escuché.
So, yeah, the officers observed them traveling at a high rate of speed. Again, we don't know what speed. He watched them both line up at a red light and then going side by side at a high rate of speed. And
Different.
that's what the
see
officer,
it like in a competitive manner,
right.
then that's racing.
So that's what the officer observed. And then once he pulled the defendant over, that's where the officer learned that the other driver, according to the defendant, had tried to hit the defendant. And the defendant tried to hit him back.
They're at a red light. They both take off at the same time at a high rate of speed.
Right, and the officer pulls over the defendant's car.
All right, Mr. Ruiz, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. This is the second time that we have an incident like this with you, so I am taking away your privilege to drive. You are not allowed to drive at all, and you will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising you that you're not gonna drive. If I find that you do, I will have a contempt of court hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? Do not drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You will be facing a lot of time in jail if you do. Heed my warning, because every time you come back, I'm going to pull your record to see if you're driving or not. You have a lawyer. They will take care of you. I will waive your appearance, but it is your responsibility to stay in touch with them. And they will tell you when you have to come back to court. If they tell me they can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. You pick up a new case or start acting a fool in the free world, we will not give you any more PR bonds. Do you understand, Mr. Ruiz? Okay, all right.
Just quickly, this is the second time he's been.
He has a prior evading arrest in a motor vehicle, and now we have a racing case. I don't want him in a car. That's it.
Understand, Judge.
That way.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're about to start trial. Please do not talk. If you need to talk, go outside.
Mr. Fairley?
I'm trying to give him a moment to finish setting.
Take your
up.
time. Okay, go. Go. Sit up, Tyler. Don't worry about it.
Before the jury comes in, I do have one matter to address.
Okay, guys. All right, guys, we're going on the record. Please keep it down. No talking. Okay, ready?
Sorry. I did file it this morning, but I'm not sure if the state has seen it yet.
What did you file?
I filed a motion to exclude the real witness's testimony, Raquel Castillo.
Okay,
And so the basis is, and I'll read just everything, is 3914 says, as soon as practical after receiving a request from the defendant, the state shall produce and permit the inspection and the electronic duplication, copy and photographing of, and then it says, shall disclose to the defendant any exculpatory, impeachment, or mitigating document, item, or information in possession, custody, or control of the state that tends to negate the guilt of the defendant or would tend to reduce the punishment for the offense charge. I go on to cite some of State v. Heath, which I'm sure the court is.
why? I
Okay,
mean,
because-
I mean, I know the law. Why?
So, Your Honor, we filed our discovery request on March 12th, 2024. And in addition to 3914, we also asked for the criminal history of any witness or law enforcement officer related to this case. And the state has announced already twice. Well, there's evidence in a MDT from Deer Park that this witness has some type of criminal history from Deer Park. I don't know exactly what it is. We were never given this.
First, the state's ringing up a judge.
I
We can't provide any discovery or notice of history that we don't have.
It's the first time. previous prosecutor looked at it as well, Your Honor, and didn't notice anything either. But no,
And again, an interaction with police is not criminal history.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's not subject to necessarily discovery. I don't see any charges here.
and that's the issue, Your Honor. We're unfamiliar with any charges placed, just previous.
I'm gonna run an NCIC to see if she has any other prior criminal history. Real quick,
All right, again, question.
let's just see,
Yes, Judge.
you know, and, you know, if she doesn't have any criminal history, she doesn't have any criminal history.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tyler. Tyler. I liked your signature. It's cute. Like a cat or bunny ears or something.
The cat.
It's cute.
We got,
I like the signature.
didn't intend for it to come out like that. Just one
Looks
that I printed to get it stamped, came out like that. But I tried a case upstairs and before we started trial, came up to the judge, handed him a motion. And it was Judge Reuben Guerrero.
Mhm.
And he didn't say a word to us. He just looked at the motions for a second. We were standing there and he just goes, "What's up with the cat?" Talking about his signature. I thought it was-
That's fine.
Let me see the last page on it. Oh.
Check it out.
What do you see?
We have a dismissal, Judge, we have. There's no criminal convictions.
I'm sorry.
We go back on the record, Judge.
Yeah, look, shh, we're on the record. Okay, what do you got?
Judge, we have, there was a charge for interfering with duties of a public servant that was tied to an offense on March 17th of 2023. It was subsequently dismissed by our office on July 22nd of 2023. She has no other criminal history of any kind. That's no warrants, no wants, just that one dismissal. So no warrants or wants of any kind.
And I find it disturbing that no one ran an NCIC until today. And there is an arrest. I think that respectfully, the state doesn't get to decide what's relevant, what's not. It's always better to disclose it to us, and it sounds like it was actually in their possession. It was in Harris County. It was dismissed by their own prosecutor's office.
So obviously it couldn't be used to impeach her. There's no legitimate purpose which it could be introduced. I can't comment on what the process was beforehand in terms of running criminal histories on it. All I can say is, again, the matter is not relevant and would be inadmissible in any case in the matter at hand.
Can you show me case law that would warrant a exclusion of the testimony for, I mean, because theoretically she doesn't have criminal history, right? I mean, it's a dismissal and there's nothing that you can do with it regardless, right? So can you show me something somewhere where it would warrant exclusion of testimony?
I will,
You can show me something, show me something.
but the defense
No?
was just unaware of what exactly it was because all I had was a MDT where it showed, it appeared that she was arrested at some point. But yes,
I understand, but, and show me, if you can show me something that it warrants exclusion, then I'll certainly take a look at it. We take a brief recess real quick, want to take 10 minutes, I guess? And see if you can find something, you know, and then in there, you also, you know, take a look and see something that it doesn't warrant exclusion. Huh?
Yes, Judge.
I mean, I don't want to go talking. Can you apologize and tell them that we have, I guess?
No, I will.
Yeah, let me give them.
Okay. Especially if it's not usable, if there's not anything like.
All right, so I'm going to deny the motion. I'm going to allow them to testify. We'll go forward. Okay, so let me go get.
No, I was watching. This is their cut. Yeah.
All right, please, all rise for the jury.
All right.
All right, please be seated. Everyone, please be seated. Like I said earlier, if you have to talk, if you need to do anything, please step outside. We're on the record. We've got a panel here. Okay, state, any opening? Okay, floor is yours.
We're here today, as we talked about yesterday, for a driving while intoxicated case. What we're really here is about a defendant who knew what the evidence would show from the very beginning. And what the evidence will show is what I'm going to tell you now. But before we do that, as I said yesterday, my burden is to prove each of those elements I showed you yesterday beyond a reasonable doubt. So I must prove to you that on or about March 7, 2024, the defendant operated a motor vehicle in a public place while intoxicated. All the elements I showed you yesterday beyond reasonable doubt. You will hear from an employee at a Sonic that the defendant drove that drive-through, struck the property, and asked for an alcoholic beverage. And it is through this interaction that the witness saw it necessary to call police. You will hear that the witness provided information to police that allowed them to locate the defendant and make contact with them. You'll hear that she provided information about his vehicle. You'll hear information that she provided information about the defendant himself. The other people you hear from are the officers themselves who followed up on that information. Those officers, utilizing the information they had from that witness, were able to go to the defendant's residence. And on their way to that residence, they observed the defendant pulling into his driveway. They observed the defendant exit the motor vehicle. And the officers will tell you that they made contact with him as he was walking towards the porch of his residence. And as he was doing so, you'll hear that he had a staggered gait, a walk to him that was slightly, unsteady. He had a poor balance as he was walking. The other thing you will hear from those officers is that when they made contact with the defendant, they noticed an odor of an alcoholic beverage, as well as his eyes were red, and he had a slurred speech. Following this, the officers saw it necessary to further investigate. You'll hear how they moved him in front of their vehicle to conduct standard testing, at which point the defendant refused to cooperate. The officers will tell you that at that point they took him under arrest, and they will tell you that they read him the statutory warnings required by law before they request a specimen of blood or breath. And again, they will tell you the defendant refused to provide any specimen. Because of that refusal, the officers will tell you that they continued up on their investigation and obtained a warrant to obtain information. And after you hear from those officers, you will hear not only from the technician that drew the blood from the defendant, you'll also hear from the analyst who actually did the laboratory analysis of the specimen provided. That analyst will tell you how she ran her analysis, how she received the sample to run her analysis, as well as she will tell you the results of that analysis. And she will walk us through the report that she generated following her analysis. You will also hear from the supervisor of that analyst who oversees the operations at the laboratory, and as well will be able to tell you guys the effects of alcohol on the body. She will also tell you how she oversaw the protocols of the report being generated to ensure they comply with the internal policies of the laboratory, as well as there were no evidentiary discrepancies when they made that report. Ultimately, it is as I said, the evidence will show that the defendant knew from the very beginning exactly what you will see today. And at the end of this trial, I will ask you to find the defendant guilty of driving while intoxicated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
May I? You're not going to like Mr. O'Shaughnessy from what you see very much in this case. This isn't a popularity contest. It's not. This is where the government has to give you enough credible, persuasive, and convincing evidence that it proves a person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That they're trying to saddle Mr. O'Shaughnessy with a criminal conviction for the rest of his life. How much evidence does that take? It takes a lot. The reason I say you're not gonna like him, you're not asked to be here today to put your green stamp of approval on everything that you see or hear. We know it's not illegal to drink alcohol and then operate a motor vehicle. You can't drive while intoxicated, and that's what they've got to prove. So the reasons you're not gonna like some of the things that you see or hear, the one that I think it's gonna be very interesting on some of the discrepancies in this case. But they say that Mr. O'Shaughnessy did go, so he has a thick Irish accent, Mr. O'Shaughnessy, you can tell by his last name. He goes through the Sonic drive-through, and they say that he hit the drive-through with his side mirror. And the person calls it in. And they do say, so you're not gonna like that part, that he supposedly runs into the drive-through with his side mirror. And then he does order a Miller Lite. And we don't know if he's serious or if he's joking, and they said something like, why not? This isn't a drink place. You're probably not gonna like that. That's not normal. I mean, that's not something you and I we might not do normally. Maybe you would. Maybe it's just a sense of humor. Regardless, we're not here on trial today for a person who damaged their mirror running into the drive-through, or a person ordering a Miller Lite from the Sonic. It's not against the law to go to a drive-through and say, can I have a Miller Lite? It also doesn't prove you're intoxicated. There are many different types of personalities in this world, and you will see that. But they've got to prove that those things were because he was intoxicated from alcohol and was driving his motor vehicle. Now, other things you're not going to like are when this is it's probably going to be a very short case. There's one video. It's not long, and it shows the officers at Mr. O'Shaughnessy's house. He's already at home on his private property and not driving. And they asked him to come over, and we all have different levels of patience or different temperaments. You'll see him start out agitated that he's being asked to come over here, and then he outright he loses his temper, and he cusses at the officers. So you're going to see that. He says the F word to him. He tells them to F off. He's not on trial for being really angry about being in that position, getting arrested. I think there's a lot of people that would feel the same, especially if they didn't feel that they were doing anything wrong. You might know some people like this, but those are the things that you're going to see. Again, being really pissed off and angry at the officers, that doesn't prove a person was driving while intoxicated. But those are the things that you're going to see. So Over here, though, is what this is DWI. Those are all other things that they're gonna try to use to say, we don't like him, we don't like what he did. But how do you prove DWI? And the evidence that you should see, that I'm not sure you're going to, I know you're not gonna see certain things. There are three ways: a person not having their normal mental faculties, their normal physical faculties, or being a 0.08 or higher when they were driving. Well, I don't think you're going to hear about any BAC at all. Now, proving mental and physical faculties, that is done by using a series of standardized field sobriety tests. There's an eye test called the horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand. And by using these three tests, that's what officers are trained to do. You'll hear them testify to this. That's how they're supposed to determine who's impaired and who's not. You're not going to have any of that. There are no sobriety tests in this case either. You're going to hear he smelled like alcohol, and they thought he was intoxicated, so they arrested him. That's it. You're the judges of the facts. Not guilty means not proved. You're going to hear some evidence that you might not like, or obviously some evidence, because we're not here wasting your time, but it's not going to rise all the way up to beyond a reasonable doubt. All those ways to tell the person is intoxicated, you're not going to have it in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, state, would you like to call your first witness?
Yes, Judge. State calls Raquel Castillo.
I'm going to ask you to please speak loudly, clearly, slowly. If you hear the word objection, stop. Once we've addressed it, we'll let you know at that point you may continue, okay? All right.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may
Yes,
continue.
Judge. Good morning, Ms. Castillo. Can you please state your name for the record? And how old are you?
20.
And why are we here today? What type of case are we dealing with today? Okay. And when or what month did the incident that we're dealing with occur?
In March.
And where did the incident occur?
Sonic Diamond, Deer Park.
Okay. If you could please wait until I ask another question to give another answer. Thank you. And what year did this incident occur?
2021.
Okay. And what county is Deer Park in?
Harris County.
Okay. And were you employed at the Sonic at the time of the incident?
Yes, sir.
And what were your responsibilities or duties at that Sonic?
Manage my store.
Okay. And would your responsibilities have included taking orders at the drive-thru?
Yes.
And was it in the drive-thru where this incident occurred?
Yes.
And was there a certain vehicle in the drive-thru that caught your attention?
Yes.
And could you describe this vehicle?
It was a light vehicle.
Okay. And what type of vehicle was it?
Like an SUV.
And could you describe the driver of the vehicle? I'll rephrase. Was there a male or female in the driver's seat?
There was a male.
A male, okay. And Can you recognize that male in the courtroom today? Looking around?
No.
And Ms. Castillo, we did talk about it before. So,
Objection, that's leading.
oh,
Overruled. Continue.
could you, just to help jog your memory, what race was the male?
White.
And what approximate age, or could you describe the age of the male?
He's an old man.
Okay. And with that in mind, would it be possible for you to look around and observe that male in the courtroom?
Objection, that's been asked and answered already, Judge.
Overruled.
I'll re-ask the question. I'll re-ask. So with that in mind, could you observe the male in the courtroom?
Yes.
And could you point out the male? Could you point him out by indicating his location and indicating an article of clothing? Or what he's wearing?
Just say, don't, you,
Judge, I'm gonna object again. The witness had already asked if she could identify. She said no.
so if, if you cannot, just say I can't. It's really, just,
Ms. Castillo, have you testified before?
No.
Do you need a minute to compose yourself? Okay. Judge, we asked for a brief recess because she appears to be upset. Recess, a brief recess.
Sorry, I'm gonna object to that, Judge.
I'm not gonna, I mean, if someone needs a recess, I'm gonna allow a brief recess, but
We approach.
sure. No. But I'd like her to answer the question to see if she can identify him or not. If she can't,
She already said no. I'm not sure if you need that, but very first time they asked, she said that she didn't identify him, and then they asked again, and that's when I checked in. Very first time they asked, when they said no.
I want to just give you, ask for the second opportunity. I want to know if she's either going to say yes or she's going to say no.
I can't hear you.
But I also, and that this is not an opportunity for you to go out there and to talk to her. And you know what I mean? Guys, remember, so man, it's not just, it's either yes or no, okay? Okay. Okay, you may continue.
Yes, Judge. Ms. Castillo, based on your observations and your descriptions of the driver, would you be able to point out the male in the courtroom today and point out an article of clothing he's wearing?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Castillo, so what caught your attention about the vehicle? Or was the vehicle involved in any activity that caught your attention? And what activity was that? Okay. And
Judge, can you give us some more volume, please?
Okay. And in addition to running into the drive-through, was there anything else that the mail was involved in? Any other things that caught your attention?
When you ask me for alcohol?
Okay. And does Sonic serve alcohol?
No.
And was there anything about the mail's speech that you observed?
It was delayed.
Okay. And what was the male's posture in the vehicle, or how was he sitting in the vehicle?
It was slashed over the steering wheel.
And you spoke to the male?
Yes.
Is the person you spoke to in the courtroom today?
No.
Okay. And was there anything about the male's eyes that caught your attention?
They were red.
And was it after interacting with the male that you called the police?
Yes.
Okay. Driver, may I enter the book?
Yes.
States tendering to defense counsel states exhibit 1 and offering into evidence a business record with accompanying affidavit that was served at least 14 days prior to trial pursuant to Rule 902. Okay.
Judge, I'm just going to object to hearsay and to relevance since the
It's
witness.
it's got the accompanying affidavit for the hearsay.
Understood, just for the record, making those objections relevance and hearsay.
Okay, it'll be overruled. It'll be.
Yes, Judge. Permission to publish?
So, hold on a second. So, where's my, all right, so this is states 1, right?
States 1, Your Honor.
And it is what?
It is the 911 call, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
I just have a question. I'm not sure if this couple is drunk or whatever. They both ran into the sonic wall, like they flipped their car a little bit on it. And your car on Center Street? Yes. They just pulled off, tried to get to stay here for a little while, but they could really stop there. Okay, what happened? I'm not sure if they were in a white vehicle. I have the license, but I don't really know what's on the car. Was it a car, an SUV, a truck? SUV. Okay, go ahead with the license, please. I'm sorry, go ahead with the license, please. Okay, he's a top, he's a small, he's a T 1486. Yes. Okay, you said they ran into the wall at his park? They hit their mirror on like the yard window. And which direction did they go off first? Leaving Sonic, they made a left. So like, did you see which way they turn off Center? You know where CBS is at? Where the Center is? Yeah, we have road. Okay, so they kept going on top of it? Yeah, that's the boulevard now. You said it was Valentino? Yeah, it's all over couple. I don't know if they're like on vacation or what. Like, they put up to the window, they asked for like alcohol. Like, can I have a better light? Don't lie on the spot, man. Can I see you there real quick? Yes, please, Raquel. What's your last name? Yes, I'm sorry. I was pulling off. Is that what's the call number for you? 600 346 491 1803. All right. We just got officers in the area. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Castillo? You mentioned that in the call that you believe the couple to be drunk. Was it based on your observations that you believe this?
Yes.
And following that call, were there any officers that arrived to investigate what you told dispatch?
Yes.
And was the information that you provided to those officers the same that you told to call on 911?
Yes.
And by the time the officers arrived, had the male already left the location?
Yes.
Were you able to observe the male leaving the scene in the vehicle?
Yes.
And were you later contacted by other officers about that same information? Were you later contacted again about that information?
Yeah.
Okay. Pass the witness now.
Ms. Castillo, you know that the person that asked for a Miller Lite, were you aware that they were just joking?
They didn't seem to be joking.
Okay. So this is your opinion of what occurred, right?
Yes.
Just like you said that this person was intoxicated. You never came out, just to kind of paint a clear picture, you never came out of the restaurant, right?
I did.
You never did any sobriety testing on anybody?
No.
Okay, so have you gone through any of that training to like do field sobriety test? Sorry?
I have not.
Okay, so just like you didn't pick up on that they were joking about ordering a beer, you're assuming that, you're assuming the person was intoxicated from what you saw, right?
Yes.
And you said it was just kind of based on life experiences or something, right?
I'm sorry.
Didn't you say that it was based on like your, like just life experiences or something like that?
Yes.
So it was kind of more like a hunch, like this person, I don't know, they might smell like alcohol or they ordered a beer, you're thinking this person's probably intoxicated, right?
It was right next to the window that other reason.
Okay, so the drive-through part of the restaurant,
Yes.
like the part that sticks out the window?
He was not sticking out at the time.
Okay, well, I just didn't know if it, like, the windows are flat up against the,
It's flat.
okay. And his side mirror slammed into the drive-through?
Yes.
Okay. And did you witness that happen?
Yes.
You saw his mirror make contact, slam into the drive-through?
Yes, I was standing at the window.
You were there at the window, so you saw it firsthand.
Yes,
Did it make a loud noise?
it did.
Okay. Loud enough that you would assume or you would think it caused damage, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then when this vehicle left the drive-through line, or when they left the restaurant, you said that they turned left,
Yes.
correct? And you know that street up there?
They went on to pass me over.
And so if they turn left, that'd be going which direction? Do you know if it's east or west?
No.
Okay. You just said that they turned left, right? May I approach the witness? I'm gonna show you what's been marked as defendants exhibit 1 through 13. Some photographs, I'd like for you to take a look at those and tell me if you recognize them and if they're true and accurate depictions of what they appear to be. Do you recognize those photos?
Yes.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of the Sonic that we're talking about?
Yes.
All of them? All of them? I'd like to tender to opposing counsel and ask that these be admitted into evidence.
Objections.
All right, they'll be admitted. This is 1 through 13.
Judge, do you mind if I publish?
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Okay, I'd just like to go through these photos and just ask you some questions and then I'll be finished, okay? This is defendant's exhibit 1. Is this a picture of the Sonic that you were working at?
Do you mind, hold on, do you mind turning the TV this way so they can also take a look? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we also have a TV here. We'll move it so it might be easier for you to see that way as well. Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. Okay.
So when this vehicle left, did they pull out of this driveway? Do you remember?
I'm sorry,
When the vehicle left the parking lot, did it pull out of this driveway
yes,
and then it turned this direction left, correct?
yes,
Okay. You're sure about that direction, they turned left? Right?
yes,
That's what you said on the 911 call as well. So defendant's exhibit number 2. There are security cameras, surveillance cameras at the Sonic, aren't there?
yes,
Do you know how many?
no,
You can see them, and I'm gonna show you some pictures, and then point out the cameras, okay? So here's a picture of, is this the side, like, before you go through the drive-through?
that's the entrance side.
Okay, so, oh, this is, okay, so a person enters here, and they would go around the backside and go to the drive-through over there?
Yes,
Okay, so this is the entrance side, and do you see this little white dome right there? You see that?
yes,
That's a surveillance camera, correct? I'm gonna show you defendant's exhibit 3, which is a closer shot of that, okay? This is defendant's exhibit 3. And same view. And we see that's a camera, correct?
Yeah.
And all of the surveillance cameras look like these kind of domes with two lenses,
I'm not sure.
but there are multiple cameras like that around the Sonic, right? There's one, right?
There's cameras on Sonic, yes.
Okay, so there's one we just saw on the entrance side. I'm showing you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit 4. I'm sorry, it is defendant's exhibit 4. And what exactly is this a picture of? Is this the drive-through area?
Around the edge, yeah.
Sorry,
Around the edge, yeah.
down around this way? And so these signs, we see the back of them right there, that's where someone will pull up and order?
No, that's the nose, so you pull it
Oh.
behind the sign right there.
Right there, okay. Now, if we zoom in, you see this two white domes up there?
Yes.
Okay, so on defense exhibit 5, this is a defense exhibit 5, this is a zoomed in version of that same location. And you can see a better close-up that there's 2 more surveillance cameras at the drive-through ordering spot, right?
What was your question?
That there's 2 cameras there.
Yeah, what's that? The picture where?
Well, so I showed you
Oh, yeah.
by the drive-through where they would stop to order. So this is defendant's 4, right? This is, around here is the drive-through, correct? And I showed you these domes up here.
Yes.
Okay, so this is just a zoomed in version of defense 4. This is defense 5. And just to give a better view, you can see that there's 2 surveillance cameras up there by the drive-through, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now that's 3 surveillance cameras, correct? So far?
Yes.
Defense exhibit 6. This is the drive-through, right?
Yes.
Or the ordering area of the drive-through. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is defense exhibit 7. It's a close-up of the same location. And you see those, see those right there? There's a camera right there. Right? That's a surveillance camera, correct? And it's pointing down towards the drive-through, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not gonna count those as extras because those were the same cameras that we looked at from the other side. So still we're just, we identified at least 3 cameras. But I was showing you the different pictures to show the different angles, okay? Now I'm going to show you defense 8. This is after they've ordered and they're driving up to the drive-through window, correct? Not, and I know this isn't the vehicle that was there. This is a picture to represent what the Sonic looks like, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so in defense exhibit 9, which is a close-up of the drive, where they're driving up to the window, we see that on the wall, right there, there's this would be the 4th surveillance camera that we've identified, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that, we see that is kind of aiming kind of over this direction to, it would catch a view of the vehicle going through, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so that's 4 cameras. And then now, you said that the drive-through window does not stick out,
No.
that the
Unless
windows
it's
are,
open.
I'm sorry?
Unless it's open.
Okay, I want to show you defense exhibit 8 again. I know this is kind of a hazy photo, but I mean, what is all of this structure that sticks out? It's the drive-through window, isn't it?
That's not your area.
Right, so you see like these kind of white posts right there? Is that part of a window frame?
I'm not sure.
So you see everything from, here's where the building is, and then it comes out to here. And then you're saying that there's windows that can open in this area right there?
Yeah.
Okay. But this is something different, correct?
It's all the same building, I'm not.
Right, but where you interact with the customer is between these two white things, right here, correct?
Yeah.
That's where you open the windows, you take money, or I don't know how you'll do that, but you deliver the food to them through this area right here. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those windows are not flush up against the wall, are they?
They're not what?
Well, anyway, I just wanted to make sure this was an accurate representation. So this part right here that comes from comes from the building out to the service window. This part right here, is that glass that you can see through?
Yes, it's a door.
Is a door?
Yes.
Okay, so there's this whole door right there, okay. And so you can see people driving through.
Yes.
And you can walk out of that door and you do to serve people food sometimes? Okay, and that door is between the wall, it comes out, and then there's the service windows. So how wide is this? Is this like 3 feet, do you know? Okay. I'm showing you defense exhibit 10. Sorry, zoom out. So this is the drive-through window, correct?
Yes.
And so here's where we see this part right back here is where the door is, right?
Yes.
And so the building kind of goes like that, and then a door comes out, and then there's these windows that you serve the food through, correct? Right there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I move up here to the corner under the canopy, there's another surveillance camera. Oh, sorry. Right here. So here's the drive-through, and just right above it, there's another dome surveillance camera, correct?
Yes.
So that would be the 5th camera that we've identified, right? And here's defense exhibit 11. It's a zoomed in version of that same view. So this camera is right in front of where the person would be stopped with their vehicle at the drive-through window, right? And it'd be pointing at the vehicle, right?
Yes.
So it would record who's in the vehicle. There's multiple cameras around that could record who's in the vehicle, correct? Like this one's going through it would be looking like through the front windshield.
Yes.
Okay. This is defendant's exhibit 12. This is the canopy after the drive-through, correct? So we already identified this camera, and there's actually another camera over here. Have a closer shot. I'm going to show you defendant's exhibit 13, which is a zoomed in version of that same view. But if we look over here, You see those two black dots? There's another surveillance camera right there, correct? Okay. So, and that's also pointing towards the drive-through as well, right?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay. So that's 6 surveillance cameras that we've identified. That might not even be all of the cameras that are at the sign, right?
Sure.
There could be more. But we've identified 6 that are angled at a position that to record people who are driving through from various locations, right? I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Briefly, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Castillo,
Yes.
in regard to the cameras, as part of your responsibilities at the Sonic, were you in charge of surveillance?
Mhm.
And Ms. Castillo, would you know what was or was not reported on surveillance?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Castillo, do you have a clear view of everyone in the courtroom?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo, can you clearly see the face of everyone in the courtroom, including the people at the table to your right?
Judge, I'm gonna object to this line of questioning.
What's your objection?
It's asked and answered.
Sustained.
And Ms. Castillo, we listened to the 911 call. In that call, was the license plate provided of the vehicle?
Yes.
Ms. Castillo, can you say today you have a perfect recollection of the face of the driver? A perfect recollection or a perfect memory of the face of the driver you spoke to?
No.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
That's what.
All right. May this witness be excused, subject to recall?
She be excused, Your Honor.
Be excused? Okay, all right, man. Thank you so much for coming and testifying, and stay safe out there, okay? Okay, state, call your next witness, please.
Yes, Judge. The state calls Officer Brooks Wash.
Okay.
Your Honor, this witness has not been sworn.
Okay. Please come up to the jury. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, please. We're gonna ask you, please speak loudly, clearly. If you hear the word objection, stop everything until we address it, and that's what you may continue, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. State.
Yes, Judge. Good morning, Officer Wash.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Officer Brooks Bosch.
And Officer Wash, what is your occupation?
I'm a police officer.
And are you a certified police officer in the state of Texas?
I am.
And what training was required to become a police officer?
Basic BPOC, basic police officer academy training is required to be a police officer in the state of Texas.
And how long have you worked with Deer Park as a police officer?
Currently, almost 6 years.
And what duties accompany your assignment at Deer Park?
I am a patrol officer. I answer calls for service.
And what types of cases have you worked on during your career?
Every single type of case.
And do you have experience investigating driving while intoxicated cases?
I do.
And what training at all was required prior to investigating driving while intoxicated cases?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I apologize. What training was required before investigating DWIs?
In the academy, we go through basic training. We have a 24-hour practitioner course that we take in the academy. I have additional training on DWIs.
And as part of that additional training, was there any special training pertaining to detecting signs of intoxication?
Yes, so of course, in your basic 24-hour course, you're learning signs of intoxication. I have courses in advanced roadside impairment, which is not only alcohol, but drugs as well. I am a certified breath test operator, meaning I can take someone's breath to see if they're intoxicated. I also have advanced DWI training, and at the time, I had over 20 DWI courses under my belt.
And what signs are taught as part of this training?
There are so many signs of intoxication. We are taught that first and foremost, not every person is going to be your fallen down drunk. We're taught to look for things such as fit slurred speech, red glassy eyes, the odor of alcohol, you know, the way that someone walks or their gait staggers to their walk. We're taught to look for odor of alcohol. We're taught to look for, you know, people not being able to hold themselves up, people stumbling, falling, just basic drunk-like behavior.
And during the course of your career, have you encountered intoxicated individuals?
Through my personal experience as well as my career, yes.
Okay. And so has this been on few or many occasions?
Many occasions.
And Officer Squash, what type of case are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about a driving while intoxicated case.
And Officer Squash, did you prepare a report for this investigation?
I helped prepare a report.
Okay. And did you bring a copy of the report with you today?
Yes, sir.
And would it assist in your testimony if you could refer to your report to refresh your recollection?
Yes, it would.
Okay. So when you first began this investigation, what was the date of the offense?
Can I refer to my report?
Yes.
Okay. The date of the offense was March 7th, 2024.
Okay. And was that investigation prompted by a call from dispatch?
Yes, it was.
And what information did dispatch provide?
Dispatch relayed that a couple, a male and female, were driving a motor vehicle in the Sonic area. They had come to the drive-through and were trying to order alcohol through the drive-through and had struck a portion of the building with their vehicle. They also provided a license plate.
Okay. And what was the address of the Sonic?
It's around the 3500 block of Center Street.
And what city is the Sonic located in?
Deer Park, Texas.
And what county is Deer Park located in?
Harris County.
And what time did this call occur?
I believe it was right around 12:30 in the morning.
And was the call about a possible intoxicated driver?
The call initially came out as a possible intoxicated driver, but the caller was giving information regarding failed to stop and give information for a possible accident as well.
So, officer, what are the first steps in investigation when you receive this information from dispatch?
The first step was to run the license plate to see if we could figure out who the vehicle belonged to or where the vehicle's registered owner was.
And officer, what information did you obtain when you ran the license plate?
After running the license plate, I was able to determine that the owner was the defendant who I've come into contact with before. I additionally was able to observe the address of the registered owner.
I'm gonna object. just to relevance on what the officer just testified to.
State your question.
Just what information did she obtain when she ran the license plate? And, yes, yes, Judge. And if you could continue, you were talking about the address. What information did you obtain? You were talking about the address.
Sure. I was able to observe the address of the defendant and noted it to be a place that I had been before.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Briefly, please. Wait a second. You're getting into information resolved with this case, right? I didn't hear you. Okay. We're not-
I can't hear you, Alex.
Well, I didn't realize that she was talking about prior encounters. I think to me, she's talking about just initial coming up to the car and running the license plate. Okay, just hold on a second. I don't want her to get into it if she knows me. But
I cannot hear you.
But I don't want her to get into it. That's what she's trying to do. Backdoor stuff in. I know that you're not. Stephen, can you take the jury out for just 1 second and just hold them briefly outside, please?
All rise for the jury.
Just hold them right there, Stephen, please. Be seated. Madam Officer, my only concern is this case. I don't want you to get into anything about any kind of prior knowledge, prior context, anything of this nature, please. Anything, this case, it only resolves what you saw, what you encountered here, that's it. Okay? Anything else that you think that we need to resolve now before I bring him back in?
I object to those questions. I mean, can't be done now. I don't want to.
But what exactly did she say?
She said, I've known him from previous encounters. I know who he is. And then, how did you know about that address when it came up when they ran his place? She said, I know because I've been to that location on previous occasions. So it's objective to 14, the 6.
Well, I don't think, but she didn't say anything as far as like any kind of
Previous
criminality, right?
Right, but it's a police officer who has had an encounter previously with.
Would you
my
like me
client.
to admonish the defendant not to take that into account and disregard it?
That's gonna just draw more emphasis.
Right,
to it.
but
I'd move for mistrial.
okay, let's deny it. You know, I don't think that it rises to the point where it's that kind of error that it would require mistrial. But like I said, if you'd like to, I could admonish the jury not to.
It would do more
you know.
damage to address it with the jury, so I'm not gonna ask them.
But I mean, I'm gonna admonish you, if you get into stuff like that, I will. So no, anything about any kind of prior context, whatever, just, okay? All right. Stephen.
All rise for the jury.
All right, please be seated. State, you may continue.
So officer, you said you obtained the address, the registered address of the vehicle. Did you go to that address?
Yes,
Okay. And as you're going to that address, did you observe a vehicle heading to that address?
yes,
And did you observe the vehicle turn into the driveway?
yes,
And were you able to observe the driver exit the vehicle?
I was able to observe the driver at the driver's side door coming up, but I never saw anybody behind the wheel.
And officer, when you approached the address, was the vehicle still running?
No,
Was the vehicle turning off?
yes, the brake lights were still illuminated as if the vehicle was turning off and, you know, everything was shutting down.
Officer, were you able to see the vehicle pull into the driveway?
Yes, I observed the vehicle pull into the driveway.
So officer, was the vehicle on?
At that point, yes,
And the driver, were you able to make contact with the driver?
I was.
And is the driver in the courtroom today?
Yes,
Can you identify?
No, I object, that calls for speculation. The witness testified she never saw anybody behind the wheel. This would be speculation.
Your Honor, I can ask you some predicate questions.
See if you can, if she's.
Your Honor, may I have permission to ask follow-up questions?
Sure.
Officer, is it your opinion that the person you observed was driving?
Objection, that is leading and that calls for speculation. She's already answered that she did not see anybody driving.
Same.
Officer, did you form an opinion as to who the driver was?
yes,
And what was that opinion based on?
Objection, this calls for speculation, Your Honor.
How? How?
Judgment of the approach.
Sure.
Person,
Yes.
that the person you observed was driving?
Objection, that is leading and that calls for speculation. She's already answered that she did not see anybody driving.
Same.
Officer, did you form an opinion as to who the driver was?
yes,
And what was that opinion based on?
Objection, this calls for speculation, Your Honor.
How? How?
Judgment approach.
Sure. But didn't she testify that she didn't see who the driver was?
Yes. Unequivocally.
Well, hold on. So she saw him outside.
No, that's not. Never tested herself. It's an age. They asked to do it. She said, I never saw anybody driving. She never saw him in the driver's seat. She never saw him in the vehicle. She never saw anybody driving. The other person never identified him either. So we have a bigger problem.
So let's see, go back and I'd like you to ask her if she saw him driving, yes or no? Because isn't that the ultimate question? I mean, she can't say it right, and I want to make sure that that's what she said, right? If she can't, you can't change it, right? It's either you did or you didn't.
I know what you're trying to do because she said she didn't see anybody driving. So I'm trying to ask you to make questions and try to fix that problem because you have a big problem now. Nobody identified him.
Please, let's not try this thing here, okay? Just Alex, ask her if she saw him driving. And that's it. Either she did or she didn't. I don't want to bootstrap. You either did or you didn't. Okay.
Was there anyone else in the vehicle when you observed it?
No, there was not.
And what was the time period between when the vehicle pulled in the driveway and when you observed the person outside the driver's side?
Seconds.
And did you confirm this was the same person the vehicle was registered to?
I did.
Okay. And did the person have the keys to the vehicle?
I don't remember.
And based on those observations, did you form an opinion as to who was driving?
I did.
And who was the driver of the vehicle?
Objection, that calls for speculation. She already said.
Sustained.
Thank you.
We'll move on, Your Honor. And when you spoke to the driver, where did you make contact with the driver?
Objection, now this is objection to relevance now because we've established she can't identify who the driver was. So any questions about what happened to the driver, she can't identify the driver. So I object to relevance. The question was, what did you do with the driver? She didn't identify, she didn't see this person driving.
Your Honor. She has laid the groundwork for circumstantial evidence as to how she formed her opinion as to who was the driver.
This is not a circumstantial game. It's not. And I'm sorry, Mr. Free, you know? Sure. You know.
The detention.
Wait, who's it? In the 911 call, it says that there's multiple people in it. Did you hear that too?
Nobody's identified him as the driver.
Do this. Let's take a brief recess. We're going to take a brief recess. Let's take a restroom break. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I think we have a couple housekeeping issues that we have to get to. I'm going to give you a brief recess. We'll try 20 minutes, I hope. I've got a lot of people as well, so bear with me. I'm going to try to clean up as much as I can, and then I'll bring you back in here momentarily, okay?
All rise for the jury.
So bear with me, okay? Thanks. Please be seated. Give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna run. Guys, and then I need to stay.
Judge, we would like to have argue a motion to suppress before the jury comes back in. Just to give you a heads up, I'm not saying I'm in a rush. It's fine. Are they getting their food at like lunch?
One, but I want to talk to them now.
One for you? No problem. So 2 copies.
Okay, guys, come on, come it up.
Well, I was gonna stand back here just because.
Not yet, not yet, not
I'll be
yet.
taking part of your decorations away every
Yeah.
time.
I've done it a few times, yeah. I think actually I have some way up right now. I might.
Hold on. Shh.
That's at the.
You know, Alex,
Excused.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
okay, you know, the beauty about trial, also the most unnerving thing about trial is you never know what kind of witness you're gonna get. You know, when I tried cases before as a, you know, on the other side, there's two things. You never know how a witness is gonna testify. Number one. Number two, you never know how juries will react, what's gonna make them happy, what's gonna piss them off. And it could be the most minute thing that you would never even think of that just really irks them in such a way that goes against you. So that's what I'm trying to tell you is you never know what kind of witness you're going to get. You know, even if you prep your witness, it's a completely different thing when you get on the stand, because if you've never been on the stand, I have before, because I had a defense lawyer put me on it to testify in a rule invocation problem. I was sweating bullets. I was nervous. I was a wreck. So as you can see, when she was testifying, it's tough. It's not an easy thing. So with that in mind, let's go on the record. I'm going on the record. You wanted to say something?
I'd like to move to suppress the detention for it being illegal and just recite what we know so far. The 911 caller from Sonic stated that they did not give any physical description of who was driving, stated that there was a man and a woman in this vehicle, stated that there was, that they damaged their mirror by running into the drive-through, and they turned left out of the restaurant. Officers, well, she didn't say it yet, but she went the other direction, and she even, they state that so they ran the license plate, and on a hunch, they went to, here's kind of the full story, that she did have previous encounters with him, and she said on a hunch, when they saw that plate came back to him, they went directly to where they know he lives. And they wrote in the probable cause affidavit, they saw him exiting the vehicle, which is not true. And there's an interview with the state, with Alex, where he talks to both of the officers, and they both say, no, we did not see him exiting the vehicle. So we have that problem of no identification whatsoever. She couldn't identify him in court from the Sonic call. But then they go to his house and
To his house?
they go straight to his house. They don't even go the direction the Sonic person said that the vehicle left. They go westbound. The vehicle was reported to have gone eastbound. She drives over to his house because there's history, and he said that they've been to his house before. They mess with him. They mess with people that are over there. That's kind of, they knew him. But she wrote that in the
hearing right now.
No.
She wrote that in the probable cause affidavit too, that she has encountered him before and she knew him to be an intoxicated driver, for what it's worth. She wrote that in the PC affidavit. That's why she went to his house when she got the name. But she said, I never saw anybody behind the wheel. There was only one person in the vehicle, and the reportee said there were two. They were able to, never saw anyone behind the wheel, observed a vehicle. Was there anyone in the vehicle when you approached? She said no. She said it was off. And then asked if he had keys to the vehicle. She said, I can't remember. No identification of him. Oh, and here's the other piece of information that is really important. If there was going to be some other evidence that he was operating or that was the truck, look for the damage on the mirror. They do that.
My only concern
There's
now.
no damage though.
Do we have a witness that sees him driving?
I mean, obviously, that's a lot to respond to. I'll just take it about the issue that's at hand, right? Wheeling the defendant, okay?
I don't care about all the extraneous crap. I don't care. My only issue now, because really,
I'll let you the judge. We're relying on the basic premise that the law does not require absolutely a person watching the person behind the wheel. They can still be wheeled, legally speaking, sufficiently through other means, both through an admission, their own admission, and then through other circumstantial evidence. We're getting in both the admission of the defendant who admits to
But you
driving.
can't get to the admission.
That's what I'm saying, is we've got to lay the groundwork there in order to get let the officer testify to all of what she saw, all of the things that Tyler's bringing up. Some of them are partial truths, and maybe they're worthy of being impeached on. Maybe not. We're going to let her testify. The jury should be allowed to hear her testify and decide what is credible and what's not. She's going to testify to what she saw, and she's going to make it very clear there's literally no one else that could have been driving the car. There's just not. Same thing as if a person comes on an accident in the middle of the road. In the
There's
middle of
still a
nowhere, there's
hunch.
no one there.
It's a hunch.
Sure. She's going to testify that she watches the car drive up into the driveway. She's going to testify to you that she watches a male get out of the vehicle. She's going to testify that she doesn't lose visual contact with that person. She's going to testify that she watches the brake lights go off. She's going to testify that this woman that was talked about is there. She's on scene. Tyler's aware of this. I know he's aware. He's read the OR. She's sitting on the porch of the house. Right. So she's going to, if given the chance, she's going to testify to all of this. This will lay the groundwork to get in at least her body cam when she speaks to the defendant, and you can hear from him himself about what he was and wasn't doing. He'll make plenty of statements on that.
You said there could be nobody else possibly driving, and now you're saying there's another woman at the scene.
Already there when the car pulls up, Tyler. She's on the porch.
Not according to the Sonic people, though. She said that there were two people in the car.
I understand that.
Didn't give any physical description. Could not identify him in the courtroom after 7 times asking.
So listen, the Sonic is why the
Judge,
officers begin. I'm not finished. The Sonic is why the officers begin investigating.
You can't talk when he's talking. I can only take one.
Tyler,
Sorry.
let him finish.
Sonic is why the officers initially investigated the defendant. That's clear, right? There's the 911 call, even though she was unable to state that she recognized the person in the vehicle on the record. She calls 911, she gives a description, she gives the license plate of the vehicle that she saw with the person driving that ran into the Sonic. Police get the dispatch, they run the license plate, they recognize the person. They go to that person's residence.
And there's the problem.
Why?
They recognize and they assume who that person is. There's two people in the car. They're making an assumption.
She said that there was the witness just said there was a male, an older white male driving.
Your Honor, if I may, the 911 call does not identify who's driving. So she doesn't know who's driving when she gets dispatched. She doesn't know if a man or a woman's driving. If we listen to the 911 call, she just says there was a man and a woman in a vehicle.
And she writes on a hunch.
I don't think it survives a directed verdict. I don't.
I don't want to waste the court's time, Judge. We're going to get testimony from the officer about all of the circumstances of what she did and didn't see. She's not going to testify that she saw this defendant specifically behind the.
I don't think it's relevant.
Okay, so then is it the court's position then that based on the testimony and your rulings on the evidence thus far that you wouldn't allow in the remainder of the testimony such as body worn camera? Okay, then I'll follow.
Sorry.
I'll dismiss.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. That's it.
So a motion to suppress the detention.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any more? Mr. Whitehead, what's going on? You're still there? Huh? Oh. Okay.
Judge, we can go over several footage.
Let me go. Let me talk to the judge.
We all have computers and everything else. Thanks.
Thanks. Mr. Stryker.
Judge, so they, so I think we're close to that alternative arrangement. However, they want the actual chief of the court who is not present here. I was just seeing if we can roll it till even tomorrow, or I don't know if he's here tomorrow. They just want to get approval.
I will. I'll roll it to tomorrow, but I'm
Okay.
sending him for a drug test right now.
Okay, okay.
But, and we'll roll it to tomorrow. Is Mr. Haddad going to definitely be here tomorrow?
I'm not sure. He has a family emergency right now, and I'm not entirely sure when he'll be back. But I can find out. I mean,
Or Friday.
tonight.
Is that-
Fri-
yeah,
Friday,
No, we
he'll-
don't do cases here on Friday
Or
because it's
Monday. I
arraignment
mean, you
day.
think of it,
What's-
because I could come in all those days and just see if he's
Get
here,
it? But,
you know,
Yeah,
we can roll him to Monday and then.
yeah, maybe roll him to Monday and
Is he okay?
yeah, let's do that.
Roll to
Liz
Monday.
will test today. He's got to come back Monday and we'll go from there. But
we
But
will
I'll
have
come
a
in tomorrow
resolution
just
by
in case he's
Monday.
here.
now it's inexcusable that you've got a great deal that they're going to dismiss your case. For 2 months, you've sit here, you've done nothing.
Judge, yeah, the bid class is a very expensive class, and it's a class that, no, well, yeah.
Other ways to do things, right? And I don't buy it. Something else is going on. I'm going to try to put my finger on it. So, yeah, we'll set them now.
Yes,
Yes,
but I'll come
me
by.
and Michael will
Yeah.
definitely be able to
And
confer
I'll come
about
by
it.
tomorrow and Thursday, just make sure. it's-
Okay, yeah, no, you're good.
Sure it gets done.
Oh, I'm sorry, you okay?
She is wonderful. What about it? No?
I think we are done.
Everybody's done. I just wait for them to be able to draw. She's processing Mr. Richardson.
Happy?
Not either way.
Different? Indifferent?
Yeah. He just has a whole bunch of, so crammed full of stuff. He has to hold everything now.
Why people bring their life savings in, you know?
And, you know, when you cram wet clothes on top of dry clothes and then
Oh.
it starts to, yeah. I didn't know, I told her I would do it, but she wanted, oh, I'll go do it.
That's it, then we're done.
Guys, I'd like to send Mr. Regan for a drug test. You got it? Okay, and then all the stuff gets off of Mr. O'Shaughnessy as well.
I'm sorry.
O'Shaughnessy, all the devices are,
Yes.
do you need something?
Yeah, so you are revoking the new case?
Yes, but I'm not raising it.
So, okay, so
Okay,
it'll be
so, all
$100,
right.
bond revoke $100, because that's what it's already at.
Yeah, you're already.
Okay.
You know, my finger's been bleeding,
Ew.
so if you want to take a little bit and save it for,
Heck
you know,
no. Oh,
like, I knew this
or
guy,
some
I knew
voodoo.
this guy.
I'm gonna do a hex on you. Some kind of
With some-
voodoo.
with some blood.
Also, no, that's unsanitary.
It's like, you know, when I peel, you know, because you get too much sun, like some jerky. You peel it and give it something, it's like jerky.
Disgusting. So that stuff didn't work? So
What?
that stuff didn't work, or you didn't put enough on?
No, I keep hitting the finger and it keeps, like it didn't, it worked until today.
I know.
I'm like,
You know, I can
you
get
can
up.
use it, you
and
can
just-
use it.
Yeah. Yuck. All right, thank you.
All right, bye guys, we're done. Have a great day. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow.
Sorry, Judge. Bye, y'all. Bye.
Thank you for coming back, guys.
There you go.
I appreciate it. Just finish it.
I don't like the orange ones.
Mm.
I have a whole thing happening right now on my lap. I'm super distracted. The cat's down here meowing at me and staring at the puppy in my lap. I should probably get back to this. So yes, it was hard to hear, it was hard to see, but at the end of the motion to suppress, the the public or the prosecutor kind of flippantly, when he was backing off, basically, well, it wasn't really flippantly, but he just kind of says, you know, okay, well, then we'll have to dismiss the case. And the judge said, okay. And so that was the last time the judge actually left to go talk to the jury. He was going to let them know that they were dismissing the case because they could go no further with the testimony from the officer, because that testimony was effectively being suppressed from any point forward. So and it was mostly based on the fact that, well, the defense seemed to prove that there were a lot of things that weren't lining up, right? So the girl said that when the car left out of Sonic, it turned left, when in fact, if you were to go to the defendant's house leaving from Sonic, you would actually turn right. So that was a whole thing that didn't line up. You know, there was a little bit of I don't know if y'all caught this, but it sounded like, you know, they were saying that the damage that was done to the vehicle, and it was a messed up mirror or something like that. And the defendant's mirror was not even messed up on his vehicle. There were little, you know, just little tings back to back. And then there was the whole exculpatory issue of, well, this officer admitted on the stand to knowing of the defendant previously and had immediately suspected that it might have been them from the description given to her. And that kind of predicated the whole situation of, you know, her going directly to the house from, you know, Sonic. On top of all of that, she saw the car pull into the house, but never actually saw who was driving the vehicle, didn't actually see them get out of the car, and come to find out there was more than one person. So it could have been the other party that was driving the car. Nobody really knows, or at least that was the probable cause that was introduced towards the end, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a rough docket, but we got through it. And that's all I got for the evening. It's been a good stream. I appreciate the conversation. It's been fun. You know, Brad, the thing that started all this was guy pulled up to the window at Sonic and asked for a beer, which was apparently a really poorly timed joke. I don't want to get into that line of questioning that actually came from the defense, where they almost gave away the ghost that, you know, that was their client, because, you know, they're making the argument that the whole beer thing was a joke. So you're saying your client was there? You're saying that was actually him that made the joke? Anyway, that's a whole nother situation. But they didn't go down that rabbit hole. Thank you, everybody, coming out. We're gonna do these every night. Come back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Be another Fleischer forum. I'll be hanging out here, hanging with you guys. We'll talk more about the cases we see on screen. Learn what we can learn. And laugh where we can laugh. Maybe at the best of us, maybe at the worst. Who knows? Don't forget about Saturday. I still plan on doing Saturday. Haven't figured out what's going on with Monday yet, but we're going to do this every night. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. For the time being, at least. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye. Oh. I didn't even say goodnight to my mom. Night, Mom. Good night, Mom. I love you. Good night, everybody. I don't love you as much as my mom, but I love you all too. Good night. See you guys next time. It'd always be cool, you know?